Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming in today. We're about to get started. Just give me a few seconds so that I can pull up the presentation for today and we will get started. Thank you again for coming. I see a few people coming in now. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Oh, that's not the first slide. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you again for being here. If this is your first time here, we're going to be talking about how to repair your own credit. So you're going to be doing it yourself, and I'm going to give you a wealth of information today to be able to make that happen. All right, so hopefully you have your pens and your papers ready because we're going to be going through a lot of details today. Okay, so as you can see here, a goal without a plan is just a wish. I think that is the most appropriate quote to talk about today. I mean, not to talk about, but to put in the presentation for today because, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a goal, what are you doing here, right? So let's talk a little bit about who am I. My name is Juanita Walker. First and foremost, I am an entrepreneur. I am the CEO of 7th Avenue. We specialize in real estate, financial literacy, and credit repair. I'm also the CEO of GoTex Technology. That's a growing computer company. What we focus on is computer repairs, training, and IT consulting. Um, I'm passionate about helping others. So, that's why I'm here today. I want to make sure that you can either grow your business or grow in your personal life. I have my real estate license in Georgia and in New Jersey, and I've helped over 1,000 families get into their dream homes and restore their credit. My goals and my vision is simple. I just want to help people. I want to help families build and protect their wealth, to help shift the mindset of consumers from financial insecurities to financial independence. That is what I am here to do. The importance of building is really it's really important to build your foundation first. Okay, you can't start with the windows, you can't put the roof on before you start with the basic information. So that's what I do. I show you how to do it and do it the right way. No gimmicks, no forced commitments. You have a problem and I have the solution. All right, if you can see this here, this slide is just a couple numbers. So what we're going to be talking about today is how you can fix your own credit. Now, I want you to get your pens and your papers ready because we're actually going to be talking about a lot. Like I said, if you're serious about this, you need to take notes. If you stay to the end of this presentation, you will get a free gift. Okay, you'll have a chance to join our over 10,000 others in our Budget to Bucks course for free. Now, this is normally $197, but it's free for anyone that's on this live today. Now, I'll send you guys a welcome letter to your email. And what I would need you to do, if you're watching this on social media, Facebook, Instagram, I need you to DM me your contact information, your phone, or your email. If you're on Zoom, I need you to private message me your email, your phone number, and I will send everything to you later. Now, looking at this slide, you will see a lot of numbers, okay? These are facts that I found from various sources. Now, one is a website called usdebtclock.org, USDEBT clock, CLOCK.org. This site is crazy, guys. This site is super crazy. I mean, it's so crazy because you can see real-time information like unemployment information, debt, how much debt the world is in, or you can even filter it so that it will show your state only. But worldwide, as you can see, there's 1/3 of adults that understand basic financial concepts. 61,180,598 as of 2:30 p.m. today, and that was actually going up every second. So that's how much debt is in Georgia. That's how much debt Georgia is in right now. The people in Georgia, the residents, the consumers. Only 24% of millennials understand basic financial topics. Did you know that? I mean, 4 in 7 Americans are financially illiterate. I mean, it's not really a surprise because, if you are a millennial or if you are Gen X, you may not have had any type of financial education, either at home or at school. There's only 20, no, what was I going to say? In 2020, there has been a few states that started to require high school students to take a personal financial course. Now, the results increased 24% from 2018, but guess what? These states are still failing, okay? It's sad. There's 27 states that scored a C, a D, or F for high school financial literacy. We have a long way to go. Okay. 64% of adults say money is a major stressor. If you are on here and you say money is a major stressor, then you are a part of that 64%. When it comes to financial literacy, people are the least knowledgeable about the basic topics, and they're the least knowledgeable about financial risk. So if we can educate ourselves about the risk, then I think we'll be able to make healthier decisions. Wouldn't you guys agree? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to go over the steps to fix your credit. We're going to talk about pulling your credit report. We're going to talk about the FICO score. We're going to talk about how to improve your score. I'm going to show you a dispute letter, sample dispute letter, and if you have any other questions, we're going to answer those questions at the end if we have time. Now, if you guys are ready, I need you to type ready in the chat. Ready, 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 ready. Let's type ready in the chat if you are ready. All right, all right. Okay, so if you're here, I am sure that you can agree that credit scores affect your daily life. They are so important. They're important in determining everything from getting approved from a loan, your interest rates on a loan, mortgages, cars, credit cards, and one of the biggest issues today is getting a job. Now, when you're using your credit wisely, credit is helpful. It's important. It's an important financial tool. Having good credit would allow you to be eligible for the best interest rates, for the greatest terms on your car loans, mortgages, your credit cards, and your personal loans. Now, did you guys know, or did you all know, I should say, that your credit history can affect other aspects in your life? Okay, your credit report and your credit scores, they can be used for the cost of your auto insurance or the eligibility of your when you're trying to get auto insurance. There was a study from AAA. They did a study and found that insurance could be as much as 115% higher if you had bad credit. So as you can see, it can affect your ability to get a job. It can affect your ability to rent a home. I know when I was in my early 20s, when I applied for Delta Airlines, I was hired under a conditional offer. And that was to pass a credit check, right? So I spent weeks going through the testing and the interviews just to be informed after weeks later that I was not going to get the job. And the reason why I didn't get hired, they sent me a letter. They didn't even call. They sent me a letter and they told me I was over $7,000 in debt. Now, I was devastated because I spent all this time and I just got out of college. I was trying to get a job. I was trying to support me and my daughter. I needed a job. I deserved a good paying job. After all, I went to school for 4 years. Well, I mean, college for 4 years. But they denied me because of my credit score. So at that time, I had only student loans. I only had a credit card that was on my credit report. But can you see how that causes my life to be affected just because of having a bad credit score? How I mean, when you think about it, you ask yourself, how in the world do these people think, you're supposed to come fresh out of college, single mother, and have A1 credit? No money to pay down debt. I mean, you can't get a good paying job. It's ridiculous. So I can't blame them. I can't blame anyone. I can't blame my parents. I can't blame the teachers because they might not have knew about financial education. They might have been ill prepared as well. So what I can do now is not let this happen, one, for my kids, and not let this happen ever again in my future. Okay, so this is just another slide just showing how much it can cost you. How much can credit cost you? A good score can save you money. It can save you money on a home loan. I have an example here. With a 740 credit score, your fee can be about $6,295, right? With a 680 credit score, your fee can be $13,795. That's a 7,500 difference. So think about it like this. Even if you have 1 point, a 739 versus a 740, that can cost you $1,500. So you have to understand, or you don't really have to understand, but if you want to make a change, you want to understand that this is a serious thing. When you try to apply for a credit card, you might have a 9.99% up to 24.9% interest rate. So you want to make sure that you are educating yourself so we can do the right thing and get this thing, make some changes in our life for our future. Now, I smell trouble. I was trying to say it the way they said it in Kid and Play. I smell, I smell trouble. Okay, so these are the 10 warning signs of credit trouble. If you're experiencing any of these, let's make a goal today, okay? Right now, let's make a goal to change some of your bad habits. All right, if you're paying only the minimum on your credit cards, if you're making your bill payments late, if you're charging more each month than you pay, if you're using credit for items that you use to be purchased with cash, if you're having a total credit balance that rarely decreases, if you're being near your credit limit and applying for new cards, if you're needing a consolidation loan to pay existing debt, or if you're not knowing the total amount that you owe, feeling stressed about your finances, or draining your savings to pay debts, you are in trouble. Okay, so stick around. Please listen to this entire presentation. Not only will you be added to our budget to bucks course, but you will also get a wealth of information if you stick around. All right, so what do you do? Okay, what do you do? How do we get started? I need you all to raise your hand or put a 1 in the chat if you were one of the millions of people who promised yourself that you would not you would not use your credit card for an emergency. Now, I don't know about y'all, but don't leave me hanging, okay? Because I am going to put a 1 in the chat for my own personal self, because I told myself I was so sure that I would only use my credit card for gas or other essentials. Nothing over 10% of my credit limit. I got my first card when I was 17, y'all. And it was a Fruit of a Loop cereal image. So I remember it like it was yesterday because I thought I was the stuff with this card. And it was from Capital One too. I'm Capital One, send me a check. But that quickly turned for the worse, y'all. I spent the whole credit limit at 17 because I had no idea of what I was doing. Nobody told me. Nobody told me. But you know what? Nobody also takes out a credit line or a line of credit or a credit card or whatever you want to call it just to fail or fall in debt. It happens more often than not. So once you see this, nothing good comes from it. Once you max out your card, it's just like a downhill spiral from there, right? Until you fix your credit. So you want to follow these things, these 5 things that we're going to talk about. So there are a few steps to repair your credit, and I pretty much simplified it for you, okay? Make sure that you know who is looking at your credit report. That is very important. You want to know why they're looking at your credit report and who is looking at your credit report. This is going to help you know how many inquiries you have and what you need to dispute if it's unnecessary or illegal. Okay. The second thing is your personal data. You want to look to see what is correct and what's not correct. Check your accounts as the third thing and make sure you recognize them. The fourth thing is going to be to identify what accounts are derogatory. This means that these are seriously past due. And I believe once they send them to the collections, it's already after 180 days. But if you're like 30 to 60 or 30 to 90 days, you it's past due. It's delinquent. Okay. Then the fifth option, we're going to start disputing. After you gather all your details, then we can get started. All right, these are some of the things that you do not want to do. Okay, yes, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they all offer online disputes, right? However, I highly advise that you do not dispute anything online because it's not effective. It limits your rights, it gives you less control, and you're doing exactly what the credit bureaus want you to do. You're playing into their hands. And if you don't like getting played, then don't play yourself. You are giving them the easy way out when you dispute online, okay? Do not dispute online. Everything must be in writing. Always send a copy of your ID with each dispute and be consistent. Follow up, okay? Do not wait for them. Don't rush the process because it's going to take a while. It may not take a whole year, but some people's situations might. To avoid mistakes, you've got to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will you get any results in one day. Okay? It's a 30-day to 45-day waiting period just for you to get a response. That's the limit that they have, the credit agent collection agencies and the credit bureaus have to respond back to you. So you want to make sure that you send your mail certified with a green card, okay? Go to the USPS and tell them that you need a green card. They'll show you how to fill it out. But you need that because you want to make sure that you get proof that that mail that you sent has been received, okay? And it's normally about $7 to send a certified letter with a green card. So it's not that much. Now, if you decide to use my company to assist you with fixing your credit, then we'll have everything that you need, okay? All you have to do is we'll have your customized letters. We'll have all the steps spelled out for you. All you have to do is just send it in the mail, okay? The last major thing to not do is don't negotiate over the phone. Now, it's going to be tempting to agree to instant payments or creditors or over the phone, but you don't do it. You need a paper trail. And these people are not your friends. And if they were your friends, they some shiesty friends. But if they were your friends, you will still need your own proof, okay? Family, friends, you know how they say don't do business with family? Well, you need to have your proof. Cover your own apples, okay? All right, so step one. Before you can fix your credit, you're going to need to know what's being reported. Now, if you can find errors, then you can dispute them and you can have them removed. There's over 50% of people who have errors on their credit report right now. Probably on this live right now, 50% of you already have errors on your report. So how many of you have already pulled your report? Put your answer in the chat. How many of you, if you've already pulled your report, tell me that in the chat. Let me know if you've already pulled your report. It could be just one credit from one credit bureau, or it could be from all three. Okay. All right. So many of my clients that I worked with have not checked their reports in over a year. Okay. That's not unusual for most people who are really not interested or they're just hiding from their debt, right? When we pull their reports, they are so surprised, y'all. They are surprised at what we show them on their credit report. Now, if you haven't checked your score, you need to go and do that right now. You can get a free one every year from annualcreditreport.com, and they will give you the all three credit bureaus, whatever they're reporting from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Okay, by law, you're entitled to one free report every 12 months. So make sure that you, once your 12 months is up, make sure that you go out there and you get your credit report, examine it. You're looking for accounts that show up as late or unpaid. And if that information is incorrect, then you need to report that. Okay. You need to send in a dispute. And how do we send in a dispute? We do not call. We write, right? So if you choose, okay, one second. Okay. All right, so if you've already done your, sorry, I got distracted. If you already have done your, got your report for the year, then you can sign up for companies like Identity IQ. We'll talk more about them later. And you can also sign up for Credit Karma, excuse me, Credit Karma, but Credit Karma is only going to show you TransUnion and Equifax. So, and then what you would do with Credit Karma is they would basically just give you an idea of where your credit scores are, but just use that as a guide to reflect what what you might have and not really what you truly have, okay? Because it's not 100%, and mortgage companies and auto loan companies do not pull from Credit Karma. All right, so what's on your credit report? The sections of your credit report are divided into 4 sections, right? You see that here. Personal identification. Most of your report is going to begin with your personal identification information. It's going to list your name, any former names or any aliases, your current address, your former address, and sometimes it even puts your employment history or your marital status there. You'll have trade lines or credit accounts. This will be the bulk of your credit report. It's going to show how you handle your credit. It's going to include your creditors, your account numbers, the dates that your accounts were open, your credit limits, your original balances, whether your accounts are individually or jointly helped. It's going to talk about your balances and your payment patterns, at least 24 to 36 months worth of payment patterns, and whether your accounts are in collections or in dispute. All right. The public relations, this is a section that's going to show you the public records. These are all related to credit worthiness, such as liens, bankruptcies, repossessions, judgments, foreclosures, court ordered child support and arrearages and things of that nature. Now, you might not see certain things like judgments under the public records because that was changed a few years ago. The judgment will still exist, so don't think you got away scot-free, but it just won't show up on your credit report. And last but not least, you'll have the inquiries. This section lists anyone who has accessed your credit report, whether you've accessed it yourself or another company. Now, the inquiries can either be hard or soft. Now, what that means is a hard inquiry is the one that results from an application or a transaction that was initiated by you. Okay, that means that you actually went out and you are trying to apply for a new credit card or a new car or new something. Now, a soft inquiry, it occurs when you pull your credit report or your credit report is being checked for reasons that are not related to a credit application. This means that the only person that can see this soft inquiry is going to be you and it's going to show up on your credit report. Okay. Now, you might see some credit offers. You might have seen or received some credit offers that say that applying will not affect your credit, right? Now, that is considered a soft pull, but it will remain a soft pull if you do not accept the offer. So don't think that once you accept the offer, it's still going to be a soft pull. That is going to now turn into a hard inquiry if you accept the offer. Okay. If you need to apply for credit, just ask your lender if they do hard pulls or soft pulls before you do it. Okay. Each inquiry, each credit inquiry, if you it can lower your score by 5 points. So it's not that big of a drastic change, but 5 points can be a lot if you're already low. Okay, the FICO system, it will count multiple inquiries made in like a 14-day period as one inquiry. So for large purchases, I'm sorry, like a house or something, you can actually shop around. And if you were to get a mortgage, you're applying for, you're trying to get pre-approved, you can do multiple pulls at a certain time period, and it's not going to take more than 1 point. Okay, or it's only going to be one inquiry, I should say. Okay, so most of your credit score will come from the information that's on your credit accounts, as you can see here. This information will stay on your report for at least 7 years. Now, if you had a bankruptcy, that's going to stay on your report for about 10 years instead of 7. Now, there are a number of things that will not be on your credit report, and that includes your race, your religion, your national origin, your gender, and your salary. So basically, the point is there's a lot of information on your credit report. So you need to know which one is what's what, so that you know if your credit report is reporting accurately. All right, so our next screen here is what a credit report looks like. As you can see, it has the things that we mentioned in the last slide. All right, you have your current name, your address, the former address, your date of birth, you have the reference number, you have a summary of all your accounts. It even shows the reporting agency. It's only going to be one agency on there whenever you pull it. It'll show the type of accounts that you have, if it's a real estate, an installment, and a revolving account. It's going to show all of that, and it's going to also show your derogatory accounts, which means that those are past due accounts. Okay, let's talk about the FICO score. Now, your credit score is a numeric summary of the information that your credit that's on your credit report. Now, it's formulated to predict your credit risk. That's basically what it's formulated for. Now, it tells creditors if you're a risky borrower and if you are more liable to pay back whatever you borrow. So when you look at the credit score, the most commonly used model is the FICO score. There's more than one, okay, but the most commonly used is the FICO score. It ranges from 300 to 850, and generally those with higher scores are going to, obviously get better credit and interest rates. So the FICO scores are only going to use the information that's on your credit report. That is going to predict your future credit performance, right? So that's important because if your payment history is 35%, your amounts owed is 30%, the length of credit history is 15%, and the pursuit of new credit and the types of credit is 10%. We're going to talk about that in just a few slides from now. But what you want to understand is your income, your employment history, your race, your religion, your national origin, your gender, your marital status, and your age. They're not considered in your FICO score. These are the 3 digits that can affect your life in many ways. All right, so it controls your ability to rent, it controls your ability to buy a home, it controls your insurance rates, it controls how you get paid. Okay, you have to understand the reporting, and I know I keep saying you have to understand, so please forgive me. I'm not trying to sound what do you call it, condescending, but we need to understand that how this FICO score works and how the process works, okay? Not only do you need to know how the score and the processing works, but you need to know your consumer rights. And we're going to talk about that later as well. You need to also know how to recover from these inaccuracies, and how to guard yourself from identity theft in order to keep your credit excellent and your score excellent. So the good part, how do you improve your score? That's what you're here for, right? Well, you're here to figure out how to fix your credit report, but everybody wants to know how to improve their score. Now, if your credit score is lower than a 700 and you're trying to refinance, or you're trying to buy a home, or you're trying to buy a car, then this is going to be great information for you. And if you want to build your credit, stick with me because we're going to be going and touching bases on a lot of things to improve your score. Now, keep in mind, your credit repair in general is not a magic trick. You just can't snap your fingers. And who's scared? No, you can't snap your fingers and then you have a brand new credit report or a higher credit score. Okay, just like money doesn't fall from trees, you can't pull your boss out and tell him to give you an advance before your check comes. You know, you can't do any of this without putting in the work. So you have to put in the work in order to get the results. Some steps might provide results quicker than others. Some people might receive results quicker than others, but it's not going to happen overnight. So you want to make sure that you give it at least 3 months or so for these changes to begin taking effect to your score. Okay, there are some instances that you might be able to get a rapid score. That might happen within 24 to 48 hours. Like if you're getting a mortgage or something, that may be the only time that you can get a quick result within 48 hours, but it is an option. I used this option when I was getting my mortgage, when I was getting a mortgage on my home. So, to avoid hurting your credit, when you can't afford to pay all your bills for the month, you need to prioritize. Okay? A single late payment towards a medical bill, a payday loan, or even an electric bill is not going to hurt you as bad as a late credit card payment will. So those might be, you might get late fees, and yeah, that's going to hurt because you got to come out your pocket up front, but at least you will not damage your credit score. Okay. I usually would, when I'm doing this, I would normally list all my bills from the most important to the least important when I'm budgeting. And then the most important ones I would pay first, and then arrange to pay before a certain time for the others. So you always have a way to negotiate. Just don't sit around and not do nothing. So, how can you make your credit score high? How can you do it? Remember, these are 5 key factors of what your credit report consists of, okay? 35% of your score comes from your payment history, so you have to pay on time. That's the bulk of your credit report, your score. When you go over 30% of your credit limits, it's going to hurt your score, so pay down your credit balances. You might have different types of credit, and it may be weighed differently, but the most important type of credit would be a mortgage. Okay, then it's going to be your installments, like auto loans and stuff, or revolving debt like credit cards. So getting different types of credit is going to help your score as well. That's what we call diversifying. Okay, check all of your reports for errors. Don't close out any old accounts. Okay, try not to use them. Um, try not to use. I mean, if you have older accounts, don't close them. Is what I'm trying to say, because it helps your credit history. The longer the age of that account has been on your report, the better. Okay. Limit balance transfers. They don't only affect your score, but they sometimes can be expensive. Okay. You know how people say get a credit card, get another credit card, then transfer the balance over here, then transfer the balance over there in 30 days. Yeah, just avoid that. Don't do that. Don't apply for credit that you don't need. Okay. Credit inquiries, they be running up that credit report, and it can lower your score over time. It might be 5 points, but it's over time that adds up. Be patient, okay? Be patient with the process. Having an 800 score, it does get you the best rates, and it will make you get approved easier, but going from 600 to 800 is not going to be overnight. Might not even be in a year's time. So start slow. If you have a credit score of 560, make 600 your first goal. Okay, you can get there much quicker within 30 to 45 days. You will save money as well once you start getting your credit together. Now, how to improve your FICO score? How are you going to raise your credit score? One, you need to pay on time. You got to make on time payments. Remember, that's 35% of your credit score. If you're missing old payments, um, that won't impact your score too much. But if you miss a current payment, that is going to definitely affect. You're going to see the difference. So if you're going to be late, make sure that you negotiate with your creditor or set up a payment arrangement to avoid that. You want to pay down your existing debt. Okay, that's the number one rule, is to not go over 15% of your net your take home pay. Okay? No more than 15% should be committed to any unsecured debt payments each month. Another way you're going to raise your score is to complete a family budget. You have to budget. You got to know what you're bringing in, what you're taking out. The amount remaining after you deduct your monthly savings and your living expenses from your net income is going to give you a opportunity to pay down your debt, whatever's left over. Okay? Housing. Spend no more than 35% of your net income on housing. Okay? Depending on whether you rent or you own, then that might include mortgage, rent, utilities, insurance, taxes, home maintenance, but that's all going to be included in 35% of your income of for housing. Okay? Savings. When it comes to savings, we have to make sure that you're at least saving 10%. Now, I had a class yesterday, and it was about how to make more money, and I was telling them you have to pay yourself first. Now, however much you can give yourself, but you need to pay yourself first. Make sure you're at least saving 10% of income, okay, throughout your life. 10% throughout whatever money that you're bringing in. And it's important that you have 3 to 6 months of income for emergency funds. That's going to be before you start saving anything, okay? Transportation, when it comes to transportation, I would say do not spend no more than 15% of your net income on transportation. Now, that includes your car payment, auto insurance, tags, your license, your maintenance, excuse me, gasoline, your parking. Don't spend more than 15%. This is all going to be important because it's going to allow you to be able to not only know how much money that you are bringing in, how much you're sending out, but it's going to allow you to start making timely payments because you'll have more money. It's going to allow you to not miss your payments. It's going to allow you to pay your debt down. Okay. All right. So, um, okay, this slide. I'm trying to see. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll fix it later. All right, so one of the other things you want to do is keep your balances low. Okay. Now, when I was going through my home search, I was trying to be approved and I wanted to get the best offer because at that time it was like so much competition. So, one of the things I had to do was pay down one of my credit cards. Now, it was only $200, so I had to pay down $200 on the card, and it brought my utilization down to below 10%. Okay. Now, the company that I told you earlier before, the mortgage company, they did a rapid check for me, and my score was raised over 100 points. And from there, I was able to get a mortgage that was more than what they originally offered me. Now, that's one way to raise your score. If you're trying to get something at the last minute, that company might be able to do a rapid score and have you do some extra stuff ahead of time. You know, I say that to say because I get a lot of people who come to me for real estate and they're like, hey, I'm trying to buy a house in 30 days, but I need to boost my credit. And it's like, wow, can't really make magic happen just like that. So, what I would recommend is to speak to the mortgage company and see if they have some type of thing for you to do after looking at your credit and then see if you can get that done to get a rapid score. Okay. If you're utilizing 50% or more, you will see a big difference in your score once you bring down the debt. And if you and that will probably depend on your creditor's report and the changes that take effect, for it to boost right away. So if you pay on the 11th and the creditor reports on the 2nd of the month, it's not going to affect the changes until the next month, right? So what most creditors report monthly, it's good to know when they report because in the event that you have to make an extra payment, which brings me to another point, if you spent more than you can afford to pay back before your due date, pay the minimum payment. And if you have extra money to put towards your bill, pay it immediately. The more that you pay down on your revolving debt, the lower your utilization rate will be. And if you need to get your credit pulled, then your score will be at a very much more attractive score. So if you have $1,000 credit limit and you have $500 balance, your credit utilization is going to be 50%, right? If you maxed out that $1,000 limit, your utilization is 100%. So that's just another example. If you all are following me, to increase your credit score, keep your balance that you owe on your credit cards at least less than 10% of your card's total limit. Okay, I can't emphasize that enough. The way that you utilize your credit is something that credit bureaus is going to consider when they evaluate you. You do not want to get that letter, sorry, we regret to inform you that blah, 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 blah. Okay, if you have a good track record in paying your credit card bill on time and then you don't carry a large balance for too long, then you can ask for an increase. That helps you out as well. Ask them to increase your credit limit opposed to opening a new card, or you can open a new card. The key is the more available credit that you have, the lower your credit utilization should be. If you want to open a new credit card, do your research, please. And then if you do try to apply to more than one at a time, do it around the same time. That way your inquiries will not be affected, okay? For example, if you apply for 3 credit cards this month, don't wait 3 more months later and then try to apply for 3 more credit card companies. Try to apply around the same time within the 30 days. And as what we say earlier, 14 days if you're doing a mortgage. But if possible, apply to the car companies that do a soft pull. Remember, we was talking about the hard inquiries and the soft inquiries. See if they do a soft pull. That way it doesn't affect your credit and you can see what type of offer they're going to offer before you accept it. Don't get greedy, because I know that a lot of people start getting this credit and then they're like, oh, I can get more and I can get more. And then I look at people's credit when I'm working on my client's credit. They might have 5 to 10 to 20 pages worth of credit cards that they got. Yes, over 20 credit cards. Now that can cause a red flag. So, if that's on your report, you want to select the card that's right for you. Read the small print. Some cards have some strict terms, some have rewards, and others, they might have an annual fee. That's a whole nother subject for another day. But if you decide to open a new card or you ask for an increase, be sure that you set up automatic payments and make sure that you can show stability, because asking for an increase when you keep high balances can cause you to have a decrease. They can close your card or cut your limit. If you don't use your card enough, it can cause you to have a decrease. And then the credit card companies, they do not have to call you when they do that. They just decrease it. And if you don't have a lot of credit accounts open, don't open too many at one time too quick. Okay, when you open too many at one time, it's going to lower your score and it's going to take a year to fall off your credit report. Okay, so let's talk about the types of credit. When you're putting a line of credit in a child's name, I'm saying this because there's a lot of people who do this. That is identity theft and it's illegal, so don't do it. Okay, mix up your credit. Have a variety of credit types. It's not the biggest factor in increasing your credit score, but it does make you look good. Okay, a few years ago, like I told you before, I did have a variety of different credit types. I paid off my car. I did not actually. I paid off my car and I only had my student loans and my credit card. And then I was shopping for a home and I wanted to have a better chance of getting the most money that I could be approved for. So I had to go out after I bought my car and I bought a new car with a low interest rate. And then I paid that up for about a year and then I applied for my mortgage. And that's how I was able to increase my credit, because it was at a standstill with just my student loans and my credit card. So far, are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Let me know that you're still here. You still here? Put it in the chat. All right, awesome. If you're in the process of buying a home now, don't choose this option, okay? Don't try to go out in there and get any more new credit. Don't be rushing. I had a client who actually came to me and was like, "Hey, I want to get a mortgage," but then he said he just brought a brand new truck. That's not going to work, okay? If you're going to consider having a blend of revolving and installment credit, you can get a small personal loan, and I can tell you a couple different places that will help you because they will report that installment to your credit report, okay? My mom, it was one thing that she always told me: do not put all your eggs in one basket. So think about that for credit too, okay? You want to have a balanced blend of investments to show that you have a healthy financial history and that you are responsible. Think about it like this. Would you loan money to someone who you see always paying something late? They always got their rent late, right? They always got the latest handbags and the new sneakers. Would you loan them some money? I think not. So think about it that way. It's all the same, okay? Now, the best practice for revolving credit, you want to use a credit card for regular budgeting monthly expenses, okay? If you can pay the balance in full at the end of the month, then you are doing good. So you want to make sure that you're not closing out credit, and that if you're going to have revolving credit, like I said, you want to make sure that you pay that on time. All right, so when it comes to getting new credit, you can be added to someone else's credit. It's called an authorized user, okay? Some of the companies don't really do it anymore because people was taking advantage of it. So you will need to find someone who loves you very much and is responsible for his and her money, because you don't want to get someone who's not responsible, because then that's going to affect your credit. So the point is not for you to use their credit card. You won't benefit from using their card, but you will benefit from how they use their card, because if they have a $20,000 limit, you only got $1,000 credit card, right? They have a $20,000 limit and they pay their bills on time. That and you become an authorized user, it's going to show that you have 21,000 instead of the 1,000. Okay. Again, you're not going to be using their card. You don't have access to that. You're just benefiting from them being good stewards with their money and paying their bills on time. Now, if you haven't built your credit score yet, you don't have any credit and you're here, it could be frustrating. Okay. You can be turned away from lenders. You might not have enough history. But one thing you can do is apply for a credit builder's card. Now, when you shop for a credit card, you should first decide how you're going to use this card and then compare the features, okay? If you will pay your credit card bill off every month now, or if you're going to have a low annual fee, that's going to be important. So you want to make sure that you know all those things that are included. If you usually carry a balance, look for the lowest interest rate. Okay, shop around for the grace period. That's the amount of time after you make a purchase, right? That's when the charges are not being assessed. Some of the financial institutions, they're going to assess your charges right away. And some of them, they'll give you 30 days free. So actually, the interest starts accruing immediately when you do cash advances. There's no grace period. So keep that in mind when you do a cash advance. Now, depending on your payment and your credit use, your habits, you may be able to, well, if what I'm trying to say is if you're bad at paying your bills on time, you might have a whole bunch of over limit fees, overdraft fees. If you have no credit or bad history, then you might be able to obtain a secure credit card, okay? Now, a secure credit card is kind of like a Visa or MasterCard, except that you got to put the money up front. Like, they might start off with $250 to $500. And you would just have to check with that financial institution to see what they offer. But that is a way for you to build your credit if you have no credit or if you got bad credit. Now, if you default on your payments, then keep in mind that financial institution, they can take that money that you owe, that you put in. So if you put in 250 on a secure card and you don't pay your bill, they could take that money. And sometimes what they'll do is offer you the money back if you pay your bill on time. Okay. The interest rate and the annual fee on a secure card, it's a little bit more higher than a regular card, but hey, you have to build your credit so that you don't have to have those interest rates. Now, it can also offer you convenience just like a regular card. So like I said, it's nothing different. It's just a different way that you would access it or apply for it is what will be the difference, okay? It's still going to report to the credit bureaus. All right, so did you guys know that you can actually report your rent payments and that they are not automatically factored in your credit report? Let me tell you about the rent reporters. After my customers added their rent, okay, to their credit files, they saw an average increase of 40 points in 10 days. Now, rent reporters, they report to the top credit bureaus, Equifax and TransUnion. Now, you can do research to find a rent reporting company, but just this is one. You can find one that works for you. Now, the process is really simple. The first step is you sign up. Okay, registration process is simple. You take a few minutes, put in your information about you and your landlord. Step number two is the verification process. They verify your rental history. You verify, you put that information in, and then they can add up to 4 years of your past rent payments. Okay, so that helps you boost your score dramatically. Once you enroll, they're going to just verify with your landlord that you actually have paid. Now, step number three, they're going to report your rent. That's basically it. You'll see your score increase within 10 days. Now it's going to appear on, if you have to look at your credit report, you might be looking for something that says RR or slash residence or something like that. Okay. But they'll continue to keep reporting as long as you have them. Now, step number four, let your rent do the work for you. Just sit back and watch. You don't have to do anything. You just use your credit score to create the life that you want and, explore your new financial opportunities. Now, this is very important. We're going to talk about dispute letters. Whenever you find a mistake on your credit report, it's important to contact the creditor, okay? As well as the credit bureau. Now, when you're trying to rectify that mistake, you need to make sure that you do this stuff in order. This can help any future problems that might prevent you from making the same mistake twice, okay? You don't want to go through it again. If you want to fix your own credit, you can start by contacting the credit bureau first and the creditor to dispute the inaccurate information. Now, I have a sample letter for you. We also have letters that you can purchase as a full packet. But I have a sample letter for you just to show you what it looks like. When you're writing your dispute letter, you want to include copies, okay? Not original copies, but any copies of documents that support your position. But keep in mind that that can be used against you, so you want to make sure that you send the right stuff. And don't, if you're not sure, then don't send nothing. But always send your letter by certified mail. We talked about that before. You want to get a return receipt, okay? So that they will show you that these people got your letter. They're not going to play around with you. Now, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the creditor must investigate the items that you question. They got 30 to 45 days unless they consider your dispute frivolous. Now, they can say that your dispute is frivolous. That's why it's very important that you get with a real credit repair specialist that can help you, because if you do it by yourself and you mess around copying and pasting somebody else's stuff, that investigation, they will drop all of that and they will never ever look at any letters again from you. So if the investigation reveals that the disputed information is inaccurate, then the creditor has to notify the credit bureaus so they can correct it, okay? And they will notify you within 5 days of the results. Now, if an item is changed or if it's deleted, if the creditor can't put the disputed information back in your file, if it's changed or if it's deleted, then the creditor cannot add it back. Okay, you might see some creditors do that, but that's something that you can dispute. If an investigation doesn't resolve your dispute with the creditor, then you can ask that a statement of dispute be included. Right? You can ask them, show me the proof. The items that you can actually dispute on your credit report is anything that the credit bureau is reporting. You can dispute it. Okay. This includes, but is not limited to, your personal information, your credit inquiries, your charge offs, your collections, your late payments, your bankruptcies, your foreclosures, your repossessions, your tax liens, and your judgments. Be very careful that you don't dispute positive items, okay? Once they are removed, it's pretty much impossible to get them back on your credit report. If you're unsure whether an item is negative or positive and you're not quite ready to send your dispute yet, make sure that you completely understand what's being reported on your credit history before you start the process. And if you don't know what you're doing, like I said, get help. We're here to help you. Okay? This next slide is going to show you a few things. This is the process of the um, reporting, the process of correcting errors on your credit report. I'm looking at the slide because I'm like, oh my goodness, I done took this from another one of my presentations, just and I didn't change it. So I have an online course, and this is what is coming from. Okay, all right. So disputing errors online is usually quick and easy. Disputing by mail is going to often take longer, but it is an option. But what did I tell you before? Don't dispute online. Okay. Highlight the errors and include with the letter to the reporting agencies and the creditors whatever it is that you're trying to dispute. Once your dispute is filed, the reporting agency, they have 30 days to verify the accuracy of your information. Now, these accounts that are marked in dispute are going to temporarily show on your report, whatever, like client in dispute or something like that. Okay. When you're sending your dispute letters to credit bureaus, it's not necessary for you to provide evidence. If you have it, do so. But keep in mind that, like I said, it could be used against you if you submit the wrong evidence or if you submit evidence that could hurt you. So, um, an example of the evidence would be like if you have a debt collector, a bill or something that's showing that you already paid your bill, then you can show that as proof, because then you already paid it. Or if you have an agreement for a settlement, then you can send that too, just to show that. But don't send any sensitive information. Don't put your social security number on there. Don't put any of that stuff on there. Okay. If you're going to go ahead and if you want to, have an example, like I said, of the credit report dispute letter, I'm about to show you that right now. Now, one of the main important things that you want to do, and what we do for our clients, is we customize your letters so it's not the same for every single person. Okay, you want to tailor your message to your specific circumstances. Don't just go copying and pasting. That's what's wrong with a lot of people. They copy and they paste and then they expect results. Keep it short and sweet. It's always best to write your own letter. Okay, write it in your own words. Even if you type it in your own words, but make it look not so formal. Okay, if you don't know what you're doing, you can mess up this whole process. That's why you need someone skilled like 7th Avenue or some other person that is legitimate. All right. When you're writing your letter to the credit bureau, you want to not mention anything unnecessary. No unnecessary laws or procedures or court rulings or threatened lawsuits. I mean, the credit bureaus, they know the law. They don't need you to help them. Okay. Remember to be kind. Nobody is going to give you anything if you call in, or not call in, but if you write a letter with combative language. Just like you send an email, you want to watch your tone. Watch your tone when you're writing as well, because you're not going to scare them into doing anything. What you're going to do is make them mad. They're going to press that button and be like frivolous. Okay. Include copies of information that supports your claims. Like I said that a couple times, but it's important that you don't send original documents, and make sure that you're not sending anything that's going to hurt you. Okay. Make and send copies. Always keep the originals. Make it clear. The items that you are disputing, make it clear. Highlight them if you need to. It's not always necessary to tell them why you're disputing it. The burden of the proof is on them. Their goal is to prove it, okay? Don't help them prove it. Their goal is to prove it. Let them prove it. They're not obligated to investigate requests that appear frivolous. So if you get marked as fraud, then they're going to just be like, sorry. Keep that in mind. Proofread everything, okay? Don't copy and paste and have somebody else's name on the paper. Make sure that when you're sending this letter, you're always going to use a photocopy of your driver's license, your state issue ID, your passport, a copy of your social security card, your pay stub, your W-2s, or any type of recent utility bill. But you only need 2 forms of IDs. That's all that's required. You don't have to send all that stuff. I wouldn't send all that stuff. Now, these are the companies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. This is their addresses where you would actually send your mail. They basically compile information that is sent to them from creditors. Okay, that's how they work. And they provide credit reports to businesses that have a legitimate need. So their goal is to make sure that they are reporting accurate information. And if they relying on these reports from these other lending companies, that could be an issue. So that's why mistakes happen. And that's why you need to be aware of what's going on, because these are other people reporting. These are people reporting your information. So you got to make sure that it's right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. One of the things you want to do is beware of credit repair companies, okay? These companies, you might have seen some ads that promise you we can remove your bankruptcies, your judgments, your liens, and bad loans for your credit file forever in 30 days. Or you might see we can erase your bad credit, 100% guaranteed. If you see a company that offers these claims, you got to run, okay? You need to pick up your stuff and get out. Run quick, fast, in a hurry. This is not possible. There is no quick fix for credit worthiness. Remember, it takes time. It took time for you to mess your credit up. It's going to take time for you to get it fixed. It doesn't have to be a lifetime, but it's going to take time. Many individuals, they're going to struggle with the understanding that you can improve your credit legitimately, but it's not magic. Okay? You have to put some action and some self-discipline. You got to be consistent. You have to set up some debt repayment plans sometimes. You have to put a budget up. You got to prioritize. You got a lot of things that you need to do. But the first step in working on your credit worthiness is to know your rights. Okay? Now, be aware also of identity theft. This occurs when someone uses your personal information to commit fraud, or they might be committing crimes with your information. These thieves are they commonly use the information they steal to get your credit cards or other types of credit, and they rack up huge amounts of debt that go unpaid. It's so many people. Look it up, Google them. How many people got identity theft? I had a client who was a doctor. She had plenty of money, but her credit wasn't that great because someone right before closing stole her identity, messed it up, and then she couldn't even close. So if you become the victim of identity theft, being proactive is going to minimize the impact that it has on you. You might need to communicate this with several institutions. You might have to call your creditors, call your financial institutions. If a credit card or a checking account was used or opened illegally, you need to contact the financial institution immediately. They're going to close your account possibly, or give you a number, or change a password or whatever. But you need to monitor all this stuff very carefully. And if you don't know how to monitor it, then there are resources that will help you monitor these things. Okay. Let's take a look at one of the resources. If you need protection, or you want to keep up with all 3 of your credit scores, or if whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're monitored so that you don't have identity theft, check out Identity IQ. This is what you take a picture of, that little QR code to the left, and it will allow you to pull up the link to the Identity IQ. What they do is they pull from all 3 bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, okay? If you have any suspicious changes in your credit report, that's one of the first indicators that your information might be compromised. So if you feel something has been going wrong, you need to make some changes ASAP, okay? But Identity IQ will notify you immediately. I believe that when you check your report, regularly, you can prevent these type of things. Identity IQ, they also offer you a report, what is it, 12 reports per year. So you get one per month. With your scores added to it. Okay. Now a lot of the competition will only let you get a report, and then they'll charge you for your scores. Okay, they'll be separate. Now, they do have something called a Scorecaster IQ. This is a detailed analysis of your credit report. It recommends use certain actions like, that you can take with your account that might be negatively impacting your score. And it also has an interactive tool to educate you and assist you with general credit score scenarios. Now, another feature is the three bureau daily monitoring and alerts. Now, your identity goes beyond your credit report, okay? You should be monitoring your identity, not just letting other people respond to you when something happens. When a thief gets access to your identity, they're going to use it in so many ways that you can't imagine. And one of the most impactful ways that a thief abuses your identity is going to be by committing criminal acts in your name. Okay. Now the identity queue that we're talking about right now, they will monitor international most wanted list and national criminal record databases for your information. Now that includes a daily credit monitoring, which gives you insight into the changes that are made on your credit profile. Okay. Now the one of the things that I get a lot of reports about, and you probably seen this too. You might have heard a lot of people talking about the dark web. So, what is the dark web? The dark web is similar to the internet, okay? But this is a place where criminals go. They use a special browser to access the dark web, and it allows them to do anonymous things online, and it's kind of like a black market. So, within the dark web, they can go and buy things, sell things, regulate things. Oh, it's like an oversight. There's no restrictions, and they could do it all in your name. So Identity IQ, they actually have some other features, but these are the ones that I use. And my favorite is the $1 million identity theft insurance. Now, Identity IQ is going to offer you up to $1 million in identity theft insurance if you're a primary member. Now, what that means is you're going to have financial peace. Who doesn't want a financial peace of mind? What does that really mean to you? What would that mean to you? If you have out of pocket costs due to identity theft, it's going to mean a lot. That means that you're going to be covered with $1 million in identity theft insurance. So I'm not going to keep you with all of that, but if you need this, take a photo of the QR code and it will open the link for you. And if you need it, and if you don't have time to take a photo, I will send you the link. Okay, just let me know in the chat. So, what are your credit rights? Okay, reporting accurate negative information is important. The most of the negative accounts, like late payments and charge-offs and things like that, that remain on your report for 7 years. And like I said before, your bankruptcy, it stays on your report for 10 years, and that's from the original delinquency date. Okay, now mistakes can happen. But, excuse me, some people find out about it after they are denied for credit. You need to periodically check your 3 credit reports for accuracy. Okay? That's going to help you avoid any erroneous denials. If you see an error, there is no need to panic. It can be corrected. Correct your inaccuracies with the credit bureaus. Start by sending a letter to the relevant credit bureaus, okay? Some of the accounts that you might have on one credit bureau might not be the same on the other credit bureau. So you want to make sure that you're sending it to the right place. It's only legal to take off legitimately inaccurate information. You're not required to provide documentation to support your claim, but you can if you want to. All right. So the credit bureaus, they have 30 days to investigate. I told you this before. A lot of this stuff I'm repeating because it's very important for you to understand, or for you to know, I should say, how this process works, because you want to be on point, right? When you send those letters and they do not respond to you within 30 to 45 days, you already got that next letter out and you are already on it. 2 steps ahead of them, okay? They have to delete that information after that. Okay? Whether it's valid or not, they would have to delete it because they didn't respond to you in enough time. So another thing that I don't think I mentioned earlier in the letter is you can add a brief statement, maybe 100 words or so to your credit report if you are contacting the credit bureau and the creditor does not resolve the issue. You can update that. Okay, adding a statement that's not going to boost your score, but it's going to help whoever pulls your credit be able to see your side of the story. Okay. Now, the myth of credit repair, it's not possible to permanently remove accurate items from your credit report through the dispute process or any other method. Okay? The dispute process is for removing accurate information only. Okay? Not permanently accurate information. You don't want to remove anything that's positive or accurate. Any company offering to remove negative accurate items from your report is engaging in deceitful practices. Okay? Do not let them do that. You got to keep, if you're going to go out and spend money and have somebody else do your credit for you, you need to know what's going on. What do they actually do? With my company at 7th Avenue, we guide you through pretty much everything. We already have the customized letters set up for you. We send them to you and you send them out. That's it. All you do is send them out and tell us what happens, what the reply is when you get it back. Okay. And then we'll send out the next letters. That's how we normally do it. The most commonly used scoring model is called the FICO score, right? Um, so I'm sorry, y'all. I just keep getting distracted. So, okay. If your credit is wrong, I actually don't know why I have this slide here. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. So if your credit is wrong, you need to, actually, I went back a slide. You need to dispute it right away, okay? So I already told y'all about that before. Just dispute it right away if you have something on your credit and it's wrong. If you see the wrong name, if you see the wrong anything, you want to dispute that. So at the end of the day, getting out of bad credit situations is about arming yourself with the proper information. The more you know, the more you're going to be able to get the results that you want. Okay? Don't rely on the internet. It's riddled with so much misinformation and half truths and lies and things that people haven't even tried before. Okay? So link up with someone who specializes in this, or you know follow this, listen to this about 3 times or something, and take notes. If you're ready to start saving, if you're ready to create a plan that works for you and becoming debt free, like I said, and you made it to the end of this presentation, please DM me or put in this chat your email and your phone number, and I will send you a welcome letter to join countless others in a 7-day course for budgeting to bucks. Okay. All right. You can also find me here if you take a picture of this presentation. Let me see. Does this even work? Because I'm seeing, yeah, it still works. Okay. So thank you guys for coming. I know we went over time here. If you have any questions, send them to me in my DM and I will get back to you. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your evening.